This is the Levels Network. I'm Justin Horo, joined by the Triple OG Widamoo, and better known as Uncle fucking Widamoo, because he's just been back to Aotearoa, been back to New Zealand for the yearly clash that started last year. It's a few rugby union players.
It was good.
A few rugby union league players mixed in together for the betterment and the health of a few AGs, brother?
Yeah, the show's called Match Fit. It's in New Zealand. We did it last year. But it was all league, right? So it's a great concept because all the brothers over there put on a heap of weight. Some have had like some real scares, like type 2 diabetes, like heart problems, all that kind of stuff. And they've been on a 15-week journey.
Oh,
right?
awesome.
And guys like Leslie Vainokolo and Ali Lauatiti.
Yep. Do they build into it, obviously, starting back
15
maybe
weeks.
December, would that be right?
Yeah,
Sounds about right.
Yep.
All the way into the game and then showcasing the journey after the footy or around the footy. Is that right?
Yep. So that's their reward, is playing against us.
Awesome. And,
Carlos, and then they had other players like Carlos Spencer played, Putaripu played. He's been part of the show as well. So a lot of these guys on a very emotional roller coaster, So it was just good to connect with all the brothers again and playing. It was half league, half union. Yep. Georgie Smith played. Yeah. Say Fainga, one of the Fainga twins. Frank Bunce played for the All Blacks. What a legend!
Triple OG.
Oh, he's the king. Ruben Wiki, man, they had a side, man. I'm not going to tell you who won, but figure it out.
You know who won, baby. We're on fire at the moment. Pack champions. Of course, we're taking you down over there. Anyone in particular, like you were saying in the drive-in, that obviously we've got so many of the rugby union boys that love our content. They'd probably more so watch the clips on Instagram more than anything, because I'm on the Levels. Me and Lukey control the Levels socials, and we always see. Sometimes I'm blown away by some of the rugby union.
A lot of love in New Zealand, man, for Levels. A lot of love.
It's awesome
for all the players and everyone there. They said congratulations to all you guys. They're fucking happy. They love it.
I appreciate it. Anyone in particular, like with their journey, that stood out, that's looking really good, looking really fit?
Piri Weepu, man.
Yeah.
I think he's been on a big journey. He's no alcohol, no nothing like that. Eating healthy. I think he's lost like 30 kilos.
Oh, wow. Because he was getting big at the back end of his career too, not only life after footy,
Leslie Vainokolo.
30 kilos.
Leslie's lost like 40 something kilos, like massive weight loss,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Some big boys there, man.
I lost a few kilos on the weekend as well, mate.
Yeah, how'd you go?
We had the husky triathlon, the sprint triathlon. It was good. It's really good. It's arguably one of my favourite weekends of the year. Every year barring COVID year, since I've returned, we've gone down and competed in it. Took our little mate there at the back. He had to get saved by the lifeguard on the swim league.
That's how you left that out, Lukey, when you said, I struggled on the swim.
Let me add to it.
Struggled on the swim a bit.
Let me add to it. So, just as we're about to take off, we go on twos. So this is, there's 500 people getting ready to go swimming. They break it off in age categories, and then you take off and you have a swim. So you go twos. I was, went into wet my goggles, come back, go, Lukey, let's come with us. So he's gone in with a different mindset. My mindset after doing it so many times is, the first buoy is 250 metres out, then you go across 250 metres, then you come in 250. I get my rhythm in the first 250 now, because I've blown myself out before, and I know what it's like. I know what he's gone through, right? So he's come and seen me in the first 250, and he's like, all right, I'm going to try to keep up with scope. Mind you, he hasn't done fuck all swimming, and he hasn't really given it the preparation it deserves. Similar to how I felt in the marathon, right, when I sort of got to a point. Anyway, he's kept up with me all the way to the first buoy, and then it got real choppy. The current started to pick up. I remember I was swimming, and I just thought, all right, this is the time where you got to take your leak. So rather than going maybe 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2, up. Like get your breath, 1, 2, and then you just sort of get a rhythm. You understand with doing it enough. You just got to fuck the speed, fuck the time. Just make sure you get through it. He swallows the whole heap of water. Tells us after. So he tells us, and then, I've taken off. I've had a bit of a bump shove myself with someone in the water on the way out there, but for the most part, everyone was really good. Anyway, he got to about 250 out. He's had to call. There's a couple of lifeguards that are sitting out on the paddle boards out there. Yeah. So he's called them over. He's had to rest on rest with the guy with the paddleboard. Use your nose, breathe in, catch yourself, go. And he said, I really did think about quitting, but there's no way I could turn up to the podcast if I didn't finish. So he did really well.
Good work, Lukey. Finished, mate.
He did it in 1 hour and 38 minutes. To put that into context, I was awful last year, and I was an hour and 33. So
Wow.
This year I ended up doing an hour and 22 minutes. My best time is an hour and 21, and I thought I felt good, and I thought I was on target for it. I was a bit disappointed I didn't get it, but still stoked because it's a great weekend, mate.
Yeah.
And I love getting down there. There's always so many people that are like, especially in the run, because you run 2.5K out to a point, and you run back 2.5K. And then I reckon I cop about at least the same amount of people calling out to you in the crowd at rugby. I'm getting that at
nice.
the run. Nice skip. Keep going the skip. Keep chugging skip. Move the leg skip. Just shit like that as I'm running past, and I'm like, because I always feel like I've got to respond to all of them. So I'm like, thanks, bro. Keep it. Thanks, bro. Keep going. Like some of them you just give them a little knuckle as you're going through. But good weekend. Good to get away with the couple of mates and compete and get after it and staying active both of us. My mate Corey. You know my mate Corey from the Bulldogs back in the day? Yeah. He's in really good nick. Like for his job, he's basically an online personal trainer who works with families and specifically mums with their nutrition and that. So he's always in good nick. He's very hard to beat. He beat me by 3 minutes, and one of my other mates comes second by about 30 seconds, who I felt bad for because we both haven't won because we get a trophy and a presentation and shit ever. We both haven't got on there, and he fell just short, but it's a good weekend. Speaking of being fit, we want to be fit because we've got a big week coming up. Well, you do. You and Lukey are heading over representing us for Levels Network at Vegas. So if you see us at any point over there, make sure you're following Levels and the Tab socials for where we'll be, because you'll get BTS for everyone back home. So on the Wednesday, mate, you're going to be doing some street talk.
Yep.
With Tab, getting amongst it, seeing how keen
It's going to be
the
mental.
Americans are over there, or if there are any Aussies that have got over nice and early.
I'm not mentally ready to get there yet.
Yeah, not
Give me
yet.
a couple of days.
Yeah, you're still.
Auckland wounded me.
Yeah,
Just a little wound, flesh wound.
yeah. You had a little crack
flesh
last
wound.
night.
Yeah.
You probably should have stayed in Auckland and got the flight there from Auckland. On Thursday, there's an NRL Fan Fest that you'll be at as well with Lukey shooting all the content. And then on the Friday, there could be something. We're going to link up with Laurie Daly, who's another Tab ambassador. And there could be some opportunity potentially with Matty Johnson and that crew. Yeah,
That'd be cool.
We'll update. Make sure you're following Levels. Make sure you're following Tab on the socials to find out where the big fella's going to be. And then obviously Saturday, it's game day. You're going to be out there. We've got all. Lukey, do we have all access passes on the field and around the field? So if you see the big fella, come and say hi. If you see Lukey, he'll be rocking the Levels hat. Come and get on the vlog. So we'll be adding pieces of content throughout the trip for the 4 days. And then we'll have a pretty sick 20-minute vlog if the boys can get some juicy content for us, and we can get some degenerates.
We're going to miss you,
over there.
mate. We're going to miss you.
It's sad I can't be there, but I'm sure the boys will be locked in and we'll get some great content, and it's going to be a great experience as well. I want to give everyone an update. Lukey has officially now finished the Gimme Par episode, Lukey, and we're dubbing it a Gimme Par vlog, basically. It was a different format to what I've filmed in the past. I went out to the Parramatta Eels Sponsors Day on behalf of our friends and our partners, the Tab, and I went head-to-head on 6 holes with 6 of the boys. So tune in to see if I did get a dub, and then who I got a dub against if I did get a dub. So I took on 6 of the boys, good content, and the boys were great out of Para. And their partnership with the Tab only makes it easier for us to get stuff with Parramatta Eels. Mase, you'll probably get some stuff with the Broncos while you're over there as well. And then the Cowboys who filmed some an episode with us last year as well, back on board with the Tab as well. So also want to let everyone know that Lukey is fighting on April 27th at the Gold Coast Convention Centre. So follow Alpha Events Co on Instagram for updates. Hopefully we aren't the lifeguards on the paddleboard having to assist Lukey in the fights.
White
And
towel.
he's going to do his preparation. One of my mates does a bit of boxing, and he said he's going to take Lukey for some sparring sessions. So he's going to be ready to go against the member of the Cast Patrol. It is escaping my name now, but that should be a giggle. We'll see how the big fella goes. If you're new to the gang, welcome, and hit that subscribe or follow on whatever platform you are using right now. We've got 21,000 plus subscribers on YouTube, 29.2 on Instagram. The new goal of 30K. Let's get to 30K before Vegas, or get us to 30K while you're in Vegas, Mace. 53.7 on TikTok, always flying. And subscribe on Apple and Spotify. And make sure you leave a podcast review. Speaking of reviews, our friends at BODYSCIENCE, have got the energy drinks of doom. They're that good, Mace. We've smashed them all within the first couple of weeks of filming the podcast. We've put in an order to get some more in. They were instrumental in me starting the triathlon really well. Felt really good. I was BSC fueled from probably 11 a.m. Just before the race started.
What time did it start?
1:30. It was a 1:30 start.
They get you going, man.
And I had that nice tingly feeling just before game day that I've had before in the past. So I was ready to go, mate. All right. One thing I want everyone at home, specifically if you're on YouTube now, is we really want to get the YouTube questions pumping again.
Yeah.
If you have anything, now that the footy's officially back on, round 0 starts this week and we had some really good trials on the weekend. Whatever you want to know, whatever you want to ask them in the YouTube questions, and me and Mace can get to them. Here's a little... a reply on behalf or in response to the Stacey Jones news last week. And there's also a reply, and it's exactly how I'm feeling with both of them, right? So this one's from Porto. I love Stacey, one of my faves growing up, and I wish him all the best. But choosing him over Bennett, get the F out of here, he says. New Zealand Rugby League second hold my beer moment after last year's debacle in moving on from Madge. Now, in support of New Zealand Rugby League, Madge got the New South Wales job. I didn't believe he could do 2 jobs myself at the same time, and he chose the New South Wales job. So good luck to him. That's not really New Zealand Rugby League's fault. Jones had a head coaching record of 2 from 11, 18% during his time with the Warriors. And he said, keep up the good work, brothers. Appreciate that, Porto. And this one is from the Stoic Whinger, who replied and said, fair to Stacey, he was on a hiding to nothing with that Warriors team. Remember, that was the COVID team.
I'm not even looking at that.
Probably one of the worst times in their history. Totally agree. Plus, Wayne's not going to be coaching forever. We've got to be looking more long-term and set up some real stability rather than him moving on in 2 or 3 years. I'm backing Stacey to go all the way. I actually feel... My feelings, I can understand exactly where they're both coming from, because that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I'm skeptical about how Stacey's going to go, but he's got my full support. And ideally, in the perfect world, I probably would have gone with Wayne. Yeah. But it is what it is. We've got Stacey now, and it's time to get behind him.
I wonder if Wayne wanted to coach.
We did, yeah. He declared it. He actually declared it.
Stacey beat him out.
He did, yeah. Stacey beat him out. They wanted to go with someone... I guess that's...
It's spot on, some of these comments.
They are. They're pretty good.
You can't really argue with any of it.
There's substance to both of them, right? So if you've got any good ones like this, remember to comment, and then me and Mace...
Just don't go into the statistics on the percentage of Stacey Jones winning.
That's
petty.
Harsh.
That's petty. Because,
harsh.
Don't worry, 2 from 11. Who cares?
Yeah. Lukey, what do you got for us?
There's a lot of talk at the moment with Wayne coming off contract at the end of the year that Brad Arthur could be under pressure. Do you see that as a situation?
Yeah, so Lukey was just saying off the back of the Wayne news, so the reason I loved Wayne as a candidate for the New Zealand job in particular was because he was actually finishing up at the end of the year for the Dolphins. Now, the rumours are going around, and we spoke about this, I remember, end of last week, right, Mace?
Yep.
That... if there's one team that's sort of standing out from the rest, if Wayne was to get a team, it's the Parramatta Eels. Now, again, being Parramatta supporter or knowing Parramatta supporters,
these are rumours, eh?
These rumours always seem to pop up, and people, I guess, a lot of fans, Parramatta fans in particular, have got frustrated with Brad Arthur not, in my opinion, not respecting the way that he's built Parramatta to. Pretty serious contender most years, and the fact that they didn't make the 8 and was obviously underachieving, but they were considered to be one of the top 4, top 5 favourites. And after I seen the performance on the weekend, I can see a real bounce back. But Wayne Bennett is Wayne Bennett.
Yeah.
And wherever there's smoke, there's fire generally with Wayne. And I can see a world in where if Parramatta starts slow, we've talked about it before, all administrations at all clubs, when they start getting these little rumours and they start finding a way to edge their way in.
I feel sorry for BA.
Yeah, but we talked about it last week, I think it was, Mace. His finals record just isn't up to scratch where all the other ones are, despite where I think he's got a similar regular season record as Ivan Cleary and I think
Robbo
it was
and all
Ricky
those
Stewart
guys.
and all these
Yeah.
guys. But 33% isn't good enough in the finals, and they do have a team there that is capable.
If they
of
don't
winning.
make the 8 this year, it's nearly all over there.
Do you think the start's really important to see if
mate,
Brad Arthur ends up
100%.
keeping the job?
I think they'll make the top 4 this year. They got that sort of side, and they're
Yeah.
playing a pretty good brand of football if you go off their trials.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Like, there's nothing out. Like when we talked about the positions of value, like we obviously love Gutho.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't get the same love league wide or from fans that
No.
probably current players appreciate Gutho, or past players and current players appreciate Gutho than more fans do, because he's not
flashy.
he's not flashy.
You know what I mean? Like, he's not blistering pace like Pappenhausen and stuff like that, but he's a great footballer.
Yeah,
Skill set, unbelievable. The communication, everything that he has from the back, he dictates everything in that line.
good defensively.
Yep.
Really
On
good
the ball
footy IQ.
all the time. Yep.
Works his ass off.
And a great dude.
and a great clubman.
Yep.
Probably doesn't have the speed, like you're saying.
Yeah. Like a fullback, like a Latrell and Tommy and all these blokes. They're just like freaks.
Yeah.
He's not that big and strong and powerful. But he's a good footballer.
Yeah. And then obviously Mitchy Moses and Dylan Brown speak for themselves. And when you've got Junior Barlow and Regan Campbell-Gillard, there's no
You
excuses.
see those two on the weekend?
Outstanding.
Jeez.
Junior come off the
Scary.
bench too. We'll get to that. We've got a YouTube question.
Yeah.
I've got 2 more YouTube questions that I inserted because they were so good into the games, breaking down the games. Now, apologies to the 2 games that were basically played out by New South Wales Cup and Queensland Cup players, or
It hurt my eyes.
even A-graders. The Roosters defeated the Rabbitohs 46-10 in the first game on Friday night. I didn't care to watch it, I'm not going to lie. Apparently, Corey Ross and Celessi Focchetti were really good. I know that because I went on Kempy's Bloke in a Bar and checked out his comment section. So shout out to Kempy.
Yeah.
And also,
I didn't even watch it on the KO Mini.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't even mini it.
It doesn't even
No.
deserve an Anthony. I'm actually going to be on Bloke in a Bar on Wednesday. I'm filling in for the boys while they're away in Vegas.
Oh, so everyone's on it, isn't it?
Yeah, so me and Kempy are going to be stuck here back in Australia, but we'll be doing a podcast. I'm jumping on the Dirty Merger podcast, which normally features the Hello Sports Boys. But I'm sure we'll run into Tom and Eddie while you're over there.
Oh, big time.
But yeah, by the way, didn't watch it. Reserve graders, hardly any of them are going to play a part in the season. So no disrespect to those players, but that's just the way it is. We want to chat about first graders. So let's get to the second game. Sharks 12 beat the Bulldogs 6. Mase, it wasn't the prettiest trial by no means, but I dare say both coaches will be fairly happy. Skill and combination develops as the year goes on for sure.
Yeah.
But at the start of the year, you want to make sure your defence is sound. And I know there are a lot of factors from the offensive sides for both teams, but you've got to be happy with 12-6.
Yeah. Well, they've worked their asses off all preseason, right? And it's based on defence, We worked their asses off. It was good. A lot of work under the ball. Like, they actually went out there and tried to hit a few plays. Kicks really led to line speed and stuff like that. Like, everyone was ripping in. That's all you can ask.
You're right. I felt like they had more sting in the defence than I'd seen probably at any point last year.
For a minute, yeah.
In any point last year. You know what I really like about Hutchinson in particular? And I know...
He made a line break.
It was the slowest line break.
He was shocked.
It was the slowest line break in preseason challenge history. But you know what I love about him, mate? And I think he's going to be perfect for the Bulldogs, and he's probably going to frustrate fans through parts of the season because, it's not going to be as a rosy year, I don't think. It's going to be a year where you're going to have to work really hard.
Yeah.
And when I look at the rest of your Bulldogs team, I think they're super talented, but sort of lacking a few guys that are going to do the shit yardie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Preston stands out week to week for you guys. Why? Because he's a gun, but he also does all the shit stuff. He takes all the tough carries. He fucking works his ass off in defence. And I think you got a few more highly skilled players in the Bulldogs, but Hutchinson was getting back and taking a few play two carries.
Twos. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that in my halfback.
Yeah. So
And all the forwards look at that.
I think he'll serve you guys well by the time.
Good
the
kicking
season.
game. Like,
Yes.
he leads everybody around. He does the little things, right? Just get the boys around.
He kick chase well and burns
Kicks does all the little effort plays. That, like, just because he's not flashy or anything like that, he gets the job done.
Yeah.
I like him.
As a Bulldogs ex-player, you're probably not going to be a long-term answer, but you still, you got a
need
young
to be that
kids
answer
coming
for
in.
a couple of years, right? and just release Birdo so Birdo can run more.
Yeah,
and that left edge can really connect with Kickow and Cherry, Fox, Taff out the back. You know what I mean? Like, he had an unhappy night, but you have those.
Yeah, there was in particular, the
drops.
second one was a bit tough because it was a great kick from Trindle, who I thought was really good. We'll get to Sharks in a bit. It was a tough one. He tried to do that tap back in because Trindle basically was going to kick a 40-20. He didn't quite get it right.
Yeah.
It was not
So it was hard play.
It was not his best night, but I think he'll be all right. They just need to keep building on those combinations. I thought Bronson Xerri looked strong again. I've got a question here from Kirk England. Boys, what do you think having 4 years off for Bronson Xerri will do for his career? Do you think he'll play longer after having no contact, etc. for that time? Curious to hear your thoughts. And I've also written down there in bold letters, Bronson Xerri's only 23 years old.
Unbelievable.
So he was a pup, 19 when he first started.
Yeah, I think it should prolong his career. Just the week in, week out NRL sort of games. You get banged up. You're completely banged up. Since you start preseason, your body is just like, it's awful, right?
Yeah.
So imagine not doing it for 4 years and then just coming back in. So I'd play another 10 years.
What do you reckon the average age, just because it'd be fair to compare Xerri to like a very solid 10-year centre, right? Like if he doesn't have this situation that he had, he's probably going to play at least, 10 to 12 years, if not maybe a couple of years in the Super League. What's a number do you think he can get to? He'll go well into his 30s now because he's had the 4 years off?
I reckon. He should. Touch wood, no injuries. He could play easily into his 30s.
And the focus of being kicked out of the competition
and
for
what
a
he
while.
has is a lot of gratitude.
Yes.
Talking to him. Just hearing what happened at the end of last year with the Bulldogs, and I was speaking to him about that time. He goes, I was digging holes, had no money, all these sort of things. And he's like, I'm not whinging about anything.
That's huge.
All I want to do is fucking play and train. That's all he said to me. All I want to do is play and train.
That's unreal because that's something players get when they finish their careers, not being in the prime of their career.
He's got gratitude already.
Yeah.
And you have to go through that shit to have it. So it's good perspective.
Ideally,
from him.
you don't want to go through it.
You don't want to, but
life throws you fucking lemons.
Fucking got it. You got fucking lemons.
And he might have been fucking putting those lemons in himself. So shout out to him. Again, he's made his mistakes, but he's on the return. I wish him nothing but the best. And you're right, that gratitude will serve him really well. At 23 years old, he's still got plenty to go. Couple of standouts for the Sharks. Same thing, like I guess the Sharks fans aren't going to be blown away from that performance, but it's a win. It's 12-6. I thought Trindle looked really good without Hines being there. Not flashy, not like the Indigenous game. I thought it was a lot more controlled.
More methodical.
And he really controlled the game well. Yep. Considering Hines is going to be on ball so much, I guess Sharks fans would have been watching that going, we don't want Nico out, but if he does miss a game or two, Origin, potentially gets his name back in the Origin contention, then he did a pretty good job.
I like Trindle.
Leading the team around,
Because it gives him a little bit of a break. If Hines is like dominating the ball all the time, maybe he doesn't have to do all that.
Yeah.
Because the last couple of years he's had to do a lot.
Yeah,
right? He can just concentrate on just the little things. Concentrate defensively because he's starting to get spotted up a lot in defence, Nico.
He's going after it defensively.
Yeah, well, he has to.
Oh, you're talking about Nico's been getting spotted up? Yeah,
Nico needs to his defensive game. He needs to pick
their
that
edges
up.
were a big part of why they slipped last year for sure, defensively.
So I think I don't think you'd be caring about his attack at all if you're Fitzy. It's just defensive systems.
12-6, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Another guy who I thought was really good, not only this game, and I went and had a look at it based off last week's game and the Indigenous Māori All-Stars game as well, and I thought he really led through the front door for the Sharks. Was Royce Hunt.
Yeah, jeez.
He's got the everything. He's got the makings of a good pro. He's exactly what we talked about with you, Mace.
Yeah.
He just needs to be able to play like this consistently with big minutes. If he turns into a solid 50 to 60 minute front rower,
easy.
That's just another piece that I'm sort of looking at from the Sharks where I think that's where they can take the next step. He's still only 28 years old. That's prime.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. That's prime front rowers age, isn't it?
Yeah.
For being
he's
a front
good.
row?
I rate him. He runs hard, man. Imagine him and Fanua Blake next year. Wow.
It's going to be a good combo. Toby Rudolph's rock solid as well.
Toby Rudolph. They've got some big boys in the middle.
And Hamlin Uele didn't even play too. I forgot about him.
And he's good. He's the key to that forward pack.
If
You're not even the Dolph's on the bench. Like you can't even get a starting spot.
I reckon Dolph will start because the defensive I think you've got Hamlin, Uele, or Hunt will start.
Yeah.
And then one of them two will come off the bench because Toby Rudolph's just so solid. Defensively.
His work rate is crazy.
Yeah.
He's fit. He gets it done.
And he gets through his work now.
I think they did miss Nico because he's got that, that X factor. You know what I mean? He can break the line. He really attacks short sides. He makes you keep honest all the time, right? Like those long fours, he'll go at you.
Yeah.
So they missed him a bit, but it's good to see Trinnell just take the reins and go,
Yeah.
I can handle the team, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good. Oh, one thing we forgot to mention, Stephen Crichton announced skipper in his first year. Now is that concerning for you having a captain named, or is it a positive or a negative that a guy of his stature has sort of come in and won the job straight away? But
the players pick it.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It's all from the leadership group and everything like that.
Oh,
It's not
I love
like
that.
they're just going, all right, you're captain.
Yeah.
It's not under 12s.
Yeah.
So they go through all the voting and all that kind of stuff. It's what they did last year.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah. Oh, I like that then. I didn't know
so
that
it's
was
picked
the
by
case.
the players. It's not like,
Well, that means so much more. I know what that's like.
Because he's highly respected, man.
Yeah, I know. And I'm not. And I wasn't talking about his credentials. This is first year.
Oh, I get it. Like, he hasn't even played for the club yet, right?
Yeah.
He gets
In
given
an
the
official
captaincy.
game.
Yeah, that says something.
But you could see he only played 20 minutes, but he's pretty vocal from the sideline for the majority of the game too.
He's like that, isn't he? All the time. The energy's mad. Like he drives it all the time. He's that dude. Him and Biz are all like that out at Penrith, apparently.
Yeah.
You can feel the energy. It's good.
And you can't forget the CEO, which is Jerome Luai as well. The next game, mate, the first of Saturday was over in Fiji. Storm 28 versus the Knights 10. Straight away, it was evident to me, and I started to think to myself, Pappy's movements were so good, considering what he's been through for the last couple of years. And like we said, the blessing in disguise could be not finishing the year like he anticipated, but given his time to repair that knee even more so from the Jack White injury. But it allows Melbourne to defend more aggressively. So what he really does, and what I mean by that is Melbourne play a real up-and-in style defence. The wingers make really aggressive decisions because they know Pappy's going to be sweeping in behind and he sets his line so well. So...
Well, there was the X factor last year, right? When they still finished top 4, got to a prelim.
Yep.
But there was no real someone can break that game open like Pappy did. Like when you get 2020, like Clive Churchill.
Clive Churchill 2021 before they went on a run. 22, 23, 24. No, 2020. But I think he was on par. Well, he was definitely in the top 3 for Dally M's before he shattered his knee on that.
Hopefully, he can get back to 90% of that. And he will kill it. Yeah. Because it's good to have him back.
Jonah Pezzett was much improved as well. I thought he really controlled his part of the game, specifically when the starters for Melbourne went off after the first 20 minutes. That's sort of when Newcastle got back in the game, but I thought Jonah Pezzett was instrumental in just steadying the ship there for a little while. Yeah. He had more stars around him. I want to get to the Knights, and I think I'm not concerned by any means. It's a trial. It is what it is. It's over in Fiji as well. But the one concern I have is last week Cogger come on and he played 6, filling in for Gamble. This time, at the 20-minute mark, he come on for Crossland and played hooker. So my feeling towards who's going to be, I think it's going to be the spine that finished last year will get first crack. Phoenix Crossland will get 9, depending on the Brayley situation and whether he gets back for round 1. And even then, I still think they'll probably go with Crossland because I think he deserves first crack. Hastings and Gamble would be 7 and 6, but I sort of worry about Gamble because he looks like the sort of player that could be spooked by competition, right? Because he's never been able to solidify his spot now at this early part of his career. And when you've got a lot of people watching Jack Cogger go really well at Penrith last year and he's looked all right in the trials, I think there could be a world in which, like, I hope he goes well because I'm sort of rooting for Gamble, but I feel like he's a player that could be spooked by.
Well, hopefully it makes him a better player, right? He can go both ways here. He can go, all right, well, bit of pressure and he just goes the other way, or he just really nails the number 6 jersey and just plays better and better and just keeps Cogger at 14. Yeah. Or he's just going to relinquish it straight away. Yeah. He's probably not going to give him more than 3 games.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's going to be an
he ain't going to fuck around Adam O'Brien.
It depends on win-losses, right?
Yeah.
And it also, like, you know, Gamble put a kick out on the 4 and then he had a real rough kick. I think the thing with him that he will struggle with compared to Hastings.
Things like that You just can't afford to do it.
Well, see, I just want to get to this point just quickly with it, is that because Hastings is so on ball all the time, that it's really hard for Hastings to lose the job, because he doesn't really do anything. Like, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but it's early drops, it's footy IQ, it's pushing the team around, but he never really has to make plays that are crazy, like match winning or like play winning. Whereas by the time Gamble gets it, sometimes he's been, he hasn't touched the ball as much. Feels like he's got to come up with a big play, and that's what sort of brings him undone.
He's a ball runner too,
rather than just competing.
Yeah, but like, he's a ball runner. That's why sometimes a 14 position would be good for him. Yeah. Just coming on at hooker and blasting the ruck. Even playing a bit of lock. Yeah, just run. You know what I mean? Like, you still got those big boys like Saifidi and that in the middle. He can just be at lock and just run. Because like, it's very structured with 5'8s, and centers want the ball. They're all ball. He's got Gags, he's got Bradman Best, and like, they want the ball. And they go, and I'd rather give it to Bradman Best than Gamble run, or give the ball to Gags. I want those guys to have the ball. Yeah, you're right, and that's where it can be frustrating. Yeah, like, if you're a playmaker, he's just going to be, here's a drop, there's an early ball. Then what have you done? Yeah, you feel like hard fucking position, man. 6, especially in this team, because Hastings is so ball dominant, and then KP's your X factor. Like, where do you fit in as a 6? Yeah, it's hard. Really, you got to make sure that, like, you get maybe 3 opportunities a half. Maybe attacking in good ball. Your kicks have got to be pinpoint. Your pass has got to be pinpoint. If you don't make it, then you sort of start getting frustrated, like, fuck, I've missed my opportunity. And that's where little things like that, like kicking out and a bad kick in a repeat set and all this sort of, it's fucking, they're like, you back. Yes. Yeah. So that's where nail everything. Yeah. So Cogger's going to come on and be slick. Yeah. All right, mate. Another impressive game was the Warriors 34 to the Dolphins 22. It's only the trials, but... Jeez. Is it too early to say that top 4? Well, you just grand final? You just went back home. Has the up the wires movement continued all the way into 2024? And my next question is, out of all of the top 4 teams, not only have they not lost players of true significance, they've probably one of the better recruited teams in the competition as well. So... it's hard not to get excited about the Wires this year. They're 25 deep. I'm looking at their squad now. So not only do they have some veterans fighting for spots, like, it's going to be hard for Dylan Walker to find a spot on the bench for him, right, in this team. And they've got some other guys that have played some big footy over the last couple of years. Tamari Martin might not make the team. Chanel Harris-Savita had a year off. He's probably not going to make it, with Metcalf and Sean Johnson looking like the 7 and 6. They're balanced. They've got that team balanced. That forward pack is very balanced. Yeah. The halves look slick. Roger out there just has class. The wingers are animals. Fullback, like, it's a full package there. And you go over there, the Dolphins didn't look like winning. I know they scored a couple of tries there, but they were getting blown away. Egan looks sharp as hell. Wade Egan looks good. That ball he threw to Barnett when he stepped to the left and like hit him there, he made that look easy. He went that way and just flicked it back that way. Barnett bang straight through. It was beautiful to watch. I said this, and he looks like he's been after it. Barnett fucking looks jacked. Yeah, because last year he wouldn't have anticipated playing front row. Now he's had a full season, learned how to play. 5 kilos of muscle. He looks like he's put on weight. Yeah. You're right. That's a good observation. Because he's good. Because Fanua Blake is Fanua Blake, right? Yeah. But you need Barnett to be out there and still getting those meters and still bashing blokes. Do that shit stuff. Yeah, he's not lock anymore because he was being locked for Newcastle, so he probably drop a couple of kilos to play more minutes. He was even playing edge back row. Play 50, like 50, 60 minutes, mate, and just go crazy. Yeah, I love Different mindset. Can I ask you about Wade Egan? Because I've been high on Wade for a while now. I thought, like, even when the Warriors weren't playing well, he was one of my favourite players to watch. I would love, and I said this to him on the Gimme Par episode, the Warriors last year, nothing but respect for guys that have gone before. And this is where sometimes I think me and you are different. This is where we probably... We differ when it comes to guys that have got the runs on the board at rep footy. I'm always sort of looking for the next year. This is why I wouldn't be a good coach, by the way, because I don't respect the past as much as you do. Yeah. Like whenever me and you have differences on Teddy's spot in the team, or whether it be, I think you might feel the same way about potentially Uppy or Damien Cook. Yeah. I'd love for Madge if and this I'm not even a New South Wales supporter. I don't really care who wins Origin, right? I just want to see what I deem to be the best teams taking on the best team. And at this point in their career, I think a great combination would be Reece Robson setting the tone at the start of the game for New South Wales, and Wade Egan bringing some silk off the bench for New South Wales. I like him, but they just have to earn all that shit, right? Yeah. And those guys have to lose those spots.
Yep.
It's Appy's to lose.
So Appy, obviously with the Tigers, he still performs. He's still performing at a high level. But
if they lose
this year, if Warriors are top 2 and Egan keeps trending the way you can,
I think I think the nine's open, right? I think it's all open. Like Robson, I think he had a great year last year. Appy had a great year. Cookie, they can still do a job, right?
Still that dude.
Yeah. So I think it's
open.
Down. Yeah,
Neither
it's
is
not.
Appy.
None of them, and they all want it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I really like him, mate. The one thing I want to, just typical Wayne, right? This is sort of sums him up. So, the one thing that was confusing for me, I agree, Warriors completely blew him off the park, like sort of early on. Basically every other team started in the first 20 minutes, you'd think, which was close to their predicted 17 to start the year, round 1, you'd think.
Yeah.
Most of them, apart from a few players, but it looked like Wayne did. Well, Wayne started Isaiah Katoa, Herbie Farnworth, and Felice Kafusi, all predicted starters. Even Tom Gilbert, who looks to have done his ACL.
Shattering for that
I
kid,
think
man.
the news had come out today officially, but devastated for Tom Gilbert, and hopefully Cohen Hess is right in the
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, that's an ACL.
Yeah, same.
That's exactly how I did mine.
Yeah, no contact just before trying to pull up.
Foot goes, knee goes in head.
But with Wayne, he started. He's one of those coaches when everyone's zigging, he tries to zag.
Yeah.
Like he started his whole right edge on the bench. I thought in particular when Sean O'Sullivan had the HIO early on, you maybe should have just chucked Katoa straight out there because I feel like he needs the reps.
Yeah, he does.
I want to see him playing more footy, but I thought that was really interesting tactic from Wayne to start the entire right edge, who looked to be starters, and you'd want him primed for round 1. Start him off the bench. They come by the time they come on, they had a real impact straight away in the start of the second half.
Avarillo on that home.
Yep, Avarillo started, and Tessie New started in the centres because Avarillo started on the right, who was good.
Yeah.
And when Herbie Farnworth come on, Avarillo went to the other centres, and Tessie New went onto the wing for Bostock.
He's got a decision to make there, Wayne.
There's serious competition up with the Dolphins, isn't there?
Yeah, those outside backs, they're good, man. He's a good player, Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah, I like him.
Flegler's good.
He's a lock.
Flegler's good.
Flegler's a lock.
Spewing about Tom Gilbert.
Flegler played the entire first 40 too.
Yeah, he looks good. But like Tom Gilbert?
Yeah.
God.
He was my player that I thought was going to make the biggest jump from really, really, really good origin player to elite forward
get a
in that
test
game.
jersey, all that sort of stuff. Just going to hold him back for another year.
It's confirmed he's going to miss the season too.
It is confirmed he's missing the season ACL. That's fucking devastating. Yeah, update. Cohen Hess is still ongoing. He's still getting the scan. So he had looked like a knee knock early yesterday as well in the game against the Raiders. So hopefully he's good to go. But some really impressive, in particular, a few players that come off the bench played really well in that game. Same thing, Broncos 40 to Seagulls 14. The Broncos win the preseason challenge, basically playing their Queensland Cup players against Seagulls Blacktown Workers players. Went on bloke in a bar. Kalolo Saital and the young gun Blake Mozza, we've heard a lot about, were really impressive coming off the bench and kind of flipped that game. If you want to get in-depth analysis on those games, we ain't it. The Dragons 34 to the Tigers 18. I like this performance from the Dragons. I thought they showed some real signs last week early in that game.
Against South, they were good for a half.
Yeah, and then they sort of didn't get the points, and you can see they're a team that now have gone through it for a couple of years where they're like, this shit ain't it. But the one thing it reminded me about a Shane Flanagan coach team is super tough. They ran hard to run through people, which is how it was playing those Cronulla teams back in the day. And they relied a lot on their defence, and they kept turning up for each other. And
kick good. Ben Hunt, they'll go as far as Ben Hunt takes him. Moses Sully looks good.
Moses Sully, I wrote down Moses Sully.
How big is he?
And if Moses Sully and Ravalawa run like that each week
Get
on the
lost.
left, no one can stop him in the competition.
Swapping sides. Nah, I'm done with him. He's a lot on that left edge.
Yeah.
Gee, thick.
Last week, when they weren't having joy against South, they kept on attacking to the right edge, and they had a few errors on the right side because you got Lomax and
Give
Birdo
it to
there.
the beast there.
Fuck, you've got to still stay on the left and just keep
early ball to that kid.
Dropping under. They did have a real target on Jaden Sullivan's head as well.
Yeah.
They went after him. there's always a little bit in that when you have a player that moves on from another club, especially when it's a half and, you question his defensive, whether he's going to put his body in front. And to be fair, he did. Jaden Sullivan was putting his body in front. But if Moses Sully and Ravalawa run like that each week, then not only obviously the attacking performance that you get from the Dragons where you're able to have some joy, you're not like it's going to gas out the right edge defensively, whoever they're running at.
Yeah.
They're just so hard to handle.
Yeah, there's footwork, big, strong, fast. Like, how old's Sully?
Sully would...
He'd be 23.
No, a little bit older. I'd say 26.
Been around for a minute
26, now, I remember when I first seen him play with Manly.
Yeah, bro.
When you remember they played that final against Rabbitohs when Jakey got held back against the Rabbitohs. We might have even been overseas actually when that was happening, 18, 19. And they got all the way to a prelim final or a semi-final. And Moses was a kid and just destroying him. Like his ceiling.
Yeah, it's huge.
And he looks to be super fit. And he got rewarded with a contract. So he must be training the house down with Flano. Because he's come in, one of the first signings he got done, even before they signed Luciano, was they locked up Moses Sully.
Yeah, he's a gun. He's always had, his ceiling is up here. Those blokes will give you 200 metres easy. Tackle breaks, but as I said, as you said, they hurt opposition defenders.
They should be good for 350 a game between them.
Yeah, easy.
350 metres, like
170 and a couple of tries.
And a couple of meaties, especially if they're on the front foot and the middles are doing the job like they did. I thought the middles were really good against a really good Tigers pack because I thought the Tigers had obviously advantage through the middle.
They need Bateman around there.
They need Bateman back big time. Stefano was really good. I feel like he's always running into set lines and he's the guy that's got to lay the platform. If someone would just take a lick for him, then you could really get an Adam Fanua-Blake performance out of Stefano, but it just always feels like he doesn't have that Mitchie Barnett. I love David Clemmo. He's a good player, been a good player for a long time, but he's a bit older in his career and he sort of labours up a little bit and he's getting a bit ball play. They just sort of need and Clemmo's capable of it. Just someone needs to just take a lick for Stefano because whenever Stefano gets the ball, it's always against a set line and he's still ripping through people.
Yeah, he's got good leg drive. He's added that thing to his game, ball playing. You know what I mean? So now you're sort of hanging off a little bit, so he's got late footwork. He's got it all, man. Worst case scenario, he bends the line. It's a quick play the ball.
Yeah.
But imagine what he can do if you get him a quick play the ball.
Someone take a lick for him.
If he had a Mark O'Mealy with him.
Yes.
Right?
Perfect.
Just some dog just going crazy. That's
even
why
a
I
Mitchie
made all
Barnett,
the meters
right?
with me. Because it's straight off the back of my Ogo.
Yeah, but even a modern day Mitchie Barnett, more comparable to this game.
Willie, not silly.
Would be perfect for him, right? Straight off the back of Ogo was the growl say.
Get out.
I thought Isaiah Papali'i was really good on the edge
good,
as well. Who else was... Benny Hunt. Benny Hunt... Look, I think everyone's over the dramas that's sort of happened now over the last 6 months and him wanting to move on. He's come out, he said he's happy. I dare say that...
He's got to be happy.
He's got to be happy because that's just the nature of contracts and Flano dug his heels in, right?
Yeah.
Coaches, He
did well then, Flano.
He did.
He could have cracked because the blowtorch was on St. George. The media, Ben Hunt was openly saying, I want to leave. Can't get any more blatant than that.
A lot of coaches would have caved, right?
Caved. Get him out. All right, I don't want the drama.
But he's staying on, and even though I love, to see him couple of meetings, he fucking still trying his ass off. If you're a Dragons fan, despite what you think about what happened with him, you can't complain because he always plays with his fucking heart every time he goes out.
Flano went all right too.
Flano's been good. Yeah, both games I thought he's been good.
Hope he finds his feet though.
He's comfortable back with his dad. He's not overcomplicating it. He knows Ben Hunt's the guy. He's just competing on everything. Yeah. He's a bit like Hutchinson.
He does compete all the time.
He's a bit like Hutchinson, the way I view Hutchinson. There's more talent in the team, but you require guys like that who are just going to do the shit work. And again, if you're a Dragons fan, you probably want more out of your six. But at the moment, with the way your team's constructive,
when you've got centers like that, give him the ball.
That's
the back rolls, you're going to have Lucci there, and who's going to be there 12? Lucci's left,
and Jaden Sewer.
They're ball runners.
Yeah,
get them to the line, square up, cross them. You know what I mean? You've got big dogs out there. It shouldn't be that hard. They're not expecting you to run the ball like Laurie Daly.
Give the ball to him and back him up. Push through the middle.
Push, make your tackles, get your kicks good. All those little things, mate.
Yep, I'm with you. All right. The next game was the first game was Sunday morning, which I got up nice and early to watch. And It's been sort of marred now and ruined by poor officiating. I'm not going to lie. It was a really rough half for the referee of the game in particular. But
What a fuck up.
I don't want this to overshadow the start of the game, and I've got to give credit to Wigan for sure, because their first half was really good. They were really desperate. They kept on turning up for each other. They took on a barrage of attacks from the Panthers, and Panthers went over with a real clear game plan, Mace. And you remember they did it last year against the Broncos when Cleary was putting in those little dink kicks.
Yeah.
They didn't want 7 tackle sets.
Yeah.
So what they were doing was taking a little bit off those kicks, or even running it on the last and getting tackled. And they got tackled on the last so many times because the in goals are a little bit shorter. I actually got a question on this as well. Where is it? I'll grab it later. But basically, it was factored around being slippery over there, the conditions, and Penrith went over with a clear game plan not to give Wigan any relief coming out of yardage. So they really wanted to pump them. But then they gave away penalties. They dropped the ball early on tackles a couple of times. So you've got to give credit to Wigan, but fuck, those calls in the second half were awful.
I get it. Like, you're going to go over there. You're not going to get the 50-50s over there. He's a Pommy. He's probably from Wigan. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's... I don't know.
He is from Wigan. Did you thumbs up that? He is from Wigan.
What?
Bullshit, is he? Oh, that's bad.
Do you know what I mean? But that call was so bad. It wasn't a try. Like, you didn't even get nowhere near it, and you were awarded a try.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we have this fucking thing, mate.
Yeah, well, the
Do you know what I
first...
mean? Like, just...
So that's where there's some grey area in this rule. And if you are going to bend the rules in a favour of being a Wigan local, then, first of all, this is on the try specifically. The one-on-one rake was even worse a little bit later on. But the no try, sending it up a try, then you know you have to have insufficient evidence to overturn it, right?
Smart.
Which is,
smart.
If you are going to bend it one way, then that's probably a way of doing it. When you send up the final try, no try, with a better view of than you did have on the first try, which was awful because he was not even in a position. He was 5 metres behind... I believe it was Brian Toto and Dylan Edwards who were blocking him from seeing, having any view of Jake Wardle getting the ball over.
He should never ref again. Honestly, like that's a debacle what he did. Like this is not the fucking 80s, mate. Yeah. It's 2024. There's technology everywhere, mate. It's World Club Challenge. There's a lot of shit riding on this. And you fucked it.
You would agree with this. Like, we spent some time over there. So we know how bad it was. NRL Roast put up a post with the New Brown head clash that he got a red card for.
Red card for that.
So like
for a head clash.
So people were obviously commenting on it, and we say tongue in cheek that there could be something sinister at play, being from Wigan. Lukey confirming that, but the refereeing on a week-to-week basis over there is poor, and it brings me to sort of the next part, and it's at the back end of last week there were news after. NRL power brokers are reportedly considering a bold move to buy the English Super League in what is shaping to be a historic investment. Should the NRL be successful, Mace, in its takeover, players could potentially move between competitions and countries within a single season. The NRL is also reportedly considering a sister city program that would see each Super League club align with an Australian team to develop players through a feeder system. First of all, before we even move on, don't call it sister system to a group of men that are going to be playing. That's just like
sister system.
If I'm the Super League, I know we got a lot of fans that listen to us over in the Super League. Yeah. They don't want to be fucking called a sister system too. By the way, I can speak on behalf of representing
some
two
tough men up there, man.
I'm from. I played in Wakey. And Wakey fans ain't going to be called fucking sister city. Anyway, this is off the back of NRL's total revenue, a record 701.1 million, Mace, up more than 100 million on the previous year.
Good.
With the league recording a $58 million profit and a huge increase in assets to 260 million.
How good's that?
So quickly before we move on from Super League, PVL, tick, dog. Second of all, RLPA, Clint Newton, tick, dog. They knew what was happening. When all this shit was going on and all this fighting was happening, there was always a big chunk of the pie coming. Both parties were well aware of it.
Yeah.
So this is why the CBA took so long to get done, because the game is in really good shape. So Yeah, it was a bit frustrating for fans at times, but these are the sort of numbers that were
they're
around,
there.
mate, that highlight why those
Why it
negotiations,
took so long.
why they were so
What do you think
important.
about that?
I love it.
It's good. Yeah.
I love. Well, I've got some quotes here from Matty, who was talking about it on SEN actually. He said on SEN, they'll move it back to being a winter sport in England, and that way it broadens the base and adds to the depth of both competitions because players can go over and have guest stints like they used to have back in the day. We're speaking about this off air, Mace. His example, let's imagine if the Roosters are faced with the situation of letting Joey Manu go to French rugby or letting him go to have a stint at Castleford. I don't know why I picked Cass because Joey Manu ain't going to want to go to Cass. Respectfully to Cass.
Go to KR.
Rivals with Wakey, by the way. It's an opportunity for players to really optimise their income while they're in the game. For sure, he'd go to KR too because that's where Jared is.
Yeah.
Willie Peters is the coach there, and I think Sean Kenny Dell is
Skitsy.
on the staff. So if Joey Manu's going anywhere, it's KR.
Yeah.
But a few things to unpack there. First of all, Mace, do you like the idea of NRL buying the English Super
I love
League?
it.
So do I.
Everything
do
that
I.
you just said, I'm all for it.
The reason I
Grows
love
the game, everything.
Yeah, there is plenty of love for the game, and there are passionate fans over there that love rugby league. The problem for me is funding and professionalism. So if the NRL buys it, and they've got to be smart with it, we're extending the competition over here, but the money's got to be right, and they're probably going to get the competition at a bargain, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine Superleague. They're in such a bad position financially, and they have been now for years, post-Superleague era when they used to get heaps of the stars over there that would come over in the early 2000s during your area, Mace, really cash in over there.
Yep.
The money's just not the same anymore. But sort of one thing I'd push back against would be changing the competition because it's fucking hard enough playing in summer over there when it's wet and miserable. Fuck playing in winter over there. I'm not playing in winter over there.
No.
In
Freezing.
It's freezing. It's so cold.
God.
And I can't imagine.
I don't know, the logistics of it all
Yeah.
is a lot, right?
Yeah,
That's why PVL gets paid the big bucks.
for sure.
Figure it out.
If he was able to
Figure
pull
it
it
out.
out, if we were able to have one united game, I think it would really improve not only the product of rugby league worldwide, but it would really improve the Super League, would be more aligned, and there'd be less shit that happened in this Challenge Cup game where you get clearly, like, I know what it's like being ref by these refs over there, and I'm not tackling the individuals personally, but they're not up to scratch, they're not fit looking over there, respectfully. They're not, they're not in good shape compared to what our NRL referees are. And that's purely because
professionalism.
it's not full time for them over there. A lot of them would be doing jobs outside of being refs
Yeah.
because they wouldn't be getting paid fuck all as well. So professionalism in that part of the world, in the Northern Hemisphere, because rugby union is huge.
Yeah.
Despite what it's doing here in Australia, it is huge in the Northern Hemisphere and always will be. And if we're able to make this game stronger and stronger, I really think a strong game in the Northern Hemisphere is important.
Agreed.
But I don't care who pays him money. Joey Manu ain't going to go play fucking Super League in winter over there. I know that's for sure. He's going. All right, mate. The last two games on Sunday, the Cowboys were really impressive against a young Raiders team that showed some real signs there for Sticky as well, Mace. Raiders jumped out of the blocks early, and I think they've probably made the decision around who's playing where even murkier for Ricky. I think really impressive the kids have been.
Halves were good.
Ethan Strange and KO Weeks were both really good at different parts of in different ways, I suppose, for their coach. And Ricky being a half.
I thought they were good.
Fogarty's missed both trials with a hamstring complaint.
Does Fogarty come straight back in that side? I suppose
You probably
he's a
think
vet.
he does, but if he was to miss a few more games and Raiders jag a few wins, it makes it a lot harder.
Can Strange play 5'8"?
Yep. Strange will play. I dare say my gut feeling is the way that Ricky's been talking about KO Weeks in particular is that he's going to get first crack. And I think Ethan Strange, if maybe not even playing, if he doesn't start at 6, he also played centres for Croker last year as well. So he's very versatile. So he could either play in that 14 role. He is. He defended really well against Lukey.
I like Drinkwater. The shape that he had, that right edge is lightning. That left to right pass that he does, whether it be a spiral or over the top, you can't beat it. because the block plays in the middle run so good, right, with Taumalolo running it, because the lead run it with Neem and all the middles, they run it like proper, right? If you run those plays properly, you get one-on-ones out wide. You have that fan shape and you come out and it just clinically you're done.
It's very, because they run it different. You know how most teams do the block mace? When Drinkwater gets it out the back, he has double shape, which is, for some people who might not be familiar, it's like a face shape, which is the back rower sits a little bit behind the centre, so you can see both options. Therefore, the Raiders wingers have to commit to that centre, because if they don't, Drinky can throw that face ball, hit the centre, but every single time over the top, he nails that pass every time. He's so good at the looping.
It's so good.
A lot of players try to do it, and they, even though they don't score off it, they might be able to execute it in the sense where they get it over the top, but it slows the momentum. Drinky never slows momentum.
I think he's the best at it in the comp.
Yeah.
Of all fullbacks, he's the best at it.
If he was a guy, we talked about the competition for Origin. He wasn't a part of Madge's 35-man squad with Teddy, Dylan Edwards, Latrell and Tommy. Does that mean, do you think at that point, is he no chance of game one because he's not part of the 35-man squad? Or can you see a world in which if the Cowboys start well, then he puts his name in contention?
I don't see him in game one.
Okay.
Regardless.
Yep.
Maybe for game two, if he's playing at a high level like that, and just because he's not in the 35-man squad doesn't mean he can't.
Shit?
Yeah, he can go. He can push himself in there. If he's playing at a high enough level and killing it, then it's going to have to be a lot of things go his way. A few injuries here and there, some really bad form.
Yeah,
for him to get the nod there, because we've got so many fullbacks.
So bad form, you're talking about Teddy.
Yeah,
specifically injuries, you're probably talking about.
I'm
Tommy
picking him before
Latrell.
Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Straight up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think there'd be a lot of pushback from that because of what Dylan Edwards has done for the last 3 years.
That's just my personal preference. Because I just like the way he plays.
Same.
I like the way the kid plays. He suits Origin.
And I think
some players are good club players. Origin's a different beast.
Yeah, I agree.
So you got to pick Origin players. I think Drinky would be an Origin player.
When you look at Walsh and what Walsh and Ponga bring to Queensland, if whoever's picked, their skill out the back. We just talked about the New South Wales fullbacks, but Kalen and Walshy are equally as silky as those double cutouts that Drinky pulls off.
They're the ones that do it all the time. They're the best at it.
Yeah.
But I like Drinky the way he does it, because he doesn't slow down. It's like, but he looks at the wingers. If they're jammed or something like that, you're done.
It doesn't look premeditated, which is a great sign, right? You know, some do it and they might loop it no matter what. It looks like he really has so much time on his hands, being a half, like starting off as a 7 or 6, coming through the grades at Melbourne. When he throws that double cutout, fuck, it's silky.
But even if the centre and the 3-man, if they're shallow, he just fucking zings it straight across everyone.
Yes, yeah, and he's got enough time to go double pump, especially when you got Jeremiah Nanai there, and Hylam Lukey on the other side.
Nanai looks fit.
Nanai looks good.
He looks on. They look dangerous, man.
Well, that was going to be my. So I noticed. This is one thing I noticed. Obviously, the shape looked really good. I think because they've got such strike on both edges with Lukey and Nanai, I think they've got to tuck through the middle so much more.
Yeah. Well, Taumalolo just needs to get back to Taumalolo.
Yeah. Kim and Cotter, I think they could have some real joy through the middle, because Strange was unbelievable defensively, but you could see Canberra had a real emphasis on defending their edges. Now they got stripped eventually, and Drinkwater was still good enough to beat them on the outside. But, man, if they play fucking, hopefully Cohen Hess, is all right, but Tomalolo, Ruben Cotter, I really like Griffin Neem, who comes off the bench for him, and Thomas McKaylee was probably the best middle.
I was happy for him.
Yeah.
I was so happy for him.
He's gone overseas, come back, looks like he's rejuvenated, and he'll probably get a spot if Cohen Hess isn't right.
I reckon he would have got a spot anyway in the 17, I think.
Yep. They were very impressive. And speaking of impressive, not only the halves were impressive for the Raiders, but Matty Timokor doing that little fucking in and away on Val was nice.
Got Val. And Val's a gun defender.
Yeah.
It was like the old days with like
Willie
Tonga and Justin Hodges and Gaznia and Tate and all those blokes. That was just all one-on-ones. It was just like, would you sit back and go, all right, go.
That would probably happen once a week from a class centre. It doesn't happen as much anymore.
No, because they're so good. They're so good in defence and they get a lot of help. But when they get you on the outside like that, and your winger's got to account for his winger, you're done.
Well, Timical's got it all in the bag. That's why. Because Timical can run over you.
He's good, yeah.
So if you don't set yourself and get your fucking balance right.
Because Val was in good shape.
He was.
He just,
bang.
You didn't know he was
and
that
then
quick.
He even got the ball out a little bit too, which kept Murray
hit you like
Taulagi
Gidley.
out. Yeah.
That was mad moving. I respect shit like
It
that.
was really good. All right, mate, the last game was the Eels 26 versus the Titans 16. I've got a question straight off the back, and this is from the week before. This is from, I think it's Hannah Melky, 5985. I'm a Para fan. It was a real long one. I shorten it up for us. I'm a Para fan and know they keep saying they need an X factor. I have a theory to get two factors happening. One would be move Dylan Brown to fullback, Gutho to centres.
Go away.
Movers to five. Hear him out because they've got this young kid called Ethan Sanders who's coming through, right? And he's been chased heavily by Canberra Raiders and Penrith. Now, he can't, because he's a young kid who hasn't played first grade, he can't do anything till round 6. But there's the big raps around this Ethan Sanders kids. This gives room for Brown to use his pace, also gives Moses his running game back. Now, I agree with you. I've heard nothing but great things about Ethan Sanders, but when I was looking at that game on the weekend, the X factor that Parramatta have been missing last year was just purely because players were out.
Yeah.
Sean Lane and Dylan Brown on the left and Bryce Cartwright and Moses on the right is plenty of X factor.
Yes,
they might not have the X factor in the centres that other teams have got.
Good.
He was good, but I think that's where their right edge, 3 and 4, are going to be their X factor this year.
Yeah. They've got everything. They've just got to put it on performance now. They've just got to perform and get it done. After this year and next year, that window is closed.
Yeah, you're right. Once you commit that amount of money, it's similar to Manly, right?
Yeah.
When Manly committed basically $3 million of their cap to Turbo, Ches, and Jakey, it's very hard to build around it. And Parramatta are similar. They've got
you've got to unearth some kids, right?
You do.
From Jersey Flegg, it's hard to do.
It's really about development, and Broncos are going to figure it out in the next couple of years now too, because all of their players are starting to get paid a mil. But you need guys like Kelma Tuolangi last week. I thought Offi Hickey Ogden started the game because that was another part of his question that I never got to. But basically, he talked about maybe Widemu Greg starting. But Offi Hickey Ogden has started well both games. Yep. And then when Junior come off the bench, he made a real difference coming through the middle. So you get that.
Do you think that's going to be? That's not going to be round 1. I need Junior to start.
Well, it depends.
Still a top 5 prop, man.
I think I'd play it game plan specific.
Yeah.
So depending on what teams I'm coming up, if I'm looking at a team like the Roosters that have maybe a Lindsay Collins and like really good front rowers starting, but they've also got tearaways like potentially Spencer Linu coming off the bench, players like that, then I want to match fire with fire and then maybe bring Junior off the bench, start Ogden or start Widemu Greg. But if it's, and this is respectfully, you're playing the Tigers, you're playing the Bulldogs, you're playing the Dragons, start the big dog. 70% of the games. Some of those games, a bit like what Melbourne do. You know how they start Nas off the bench sometimes because it gives them that impact.
Reg off the bench as well.
Yeah, either or.
Because he's got massive impact when he comes off the bench.
Either or, because then Reggie could come on and play 60 straight as well.
Yeah,
easy.
Because he's fit. They bang out some good minutes. He was good, Reg.
Yeah,
real hard line running. Bang.
Yeah.
That nice ball from Junior.
That was nice. Yeah, that was a real emphasis. And I thought, both edges.
It's an underrated play, that.
That's nice.
It's a high risk, sort of, because it's a collision sort of line. But, like, if it's executed right,
very hard.
On all the time, man.
And it depends on who's. So
you need that soft ball, right? You
need soft touch, and then also you got to have that threat of being able to run through and keep your momentum. And that's what Junior does well compared to anyone else in that team. Like it wouldn't work with Reggie doing it to Junior.
No,
because Reggie's all sort of one pace. Junior's got nice tempo. He can slow down, take off, slow down, go again, short, hit you and go through. But again, for the Titans, mate, and this is why I didn't have them in the 8. I know it's only a trial, but I watched the game and I go, they've got talent across the board. They've got so much X factor. They had no Fozzie, and I'm sure Fozzie will improve him. But you can't Fozzie's one of my best mates from my time at Manly. You can't rely on Fozzie for an entire season at this point of his career, right? He's getting a bit older. He's been relatively banged up. He had a couple of good years at Manly, but even at Gold Coast, he was a bit banged up. they're just missing
something.
They're just missing that extra playmaker with Foz, I reckon. Like if
Tanner Boyd.
See, Tanner Boyd's okay, but not long term, and he just seems like a real likable guy that's playing because of that. But they're missing something else. I thought Brimo, he's just a footy player, so he looked good in the centres for the short stint he had before he went off to HIA. But yeah, there's something just doesn't feel right with the Titans. I don't know what it is.
So
mate.
you throw Foz back in there and you get Fafita. That changes a little bit, right?
I think Fafita is 50-50 for round one. Jaden Campbell's definitely not right. Keno Kinney, there's a lot expected of him early on. But fuck, when you got Tino in the middle, you got fucking Keenan Palacia, you got Fodawaker. There's no excuses. Both for more.
Isaac Lou.
Like Isaac Lou didn't play in this game, but
he's there.
You got those players. They should be better than this because they didn't like Para 26-16 didn't do it justice. Para were clearly the better team, I thought, in this game. So
Para looked sharp.
Yeah, they look good.
Really sharp.
They look good.
Moses looked good. Dylan Brown looked good. They were getting at it, man.
Not getting too carried away, and they were my picks. Remember at the end of the week, Cowboys. I like the Cowboys and I like the Eels. Real contenders to bounce back. I'm really excited to see what round zero tosses up for a couple of other teams that sort of didn't have the expectations they would have expected. Sorry, they didn't live up to expectations last year in Manly, and Rabbitohs playing first game of round zero. So it should be good, mate. Have fun in Vegas.
I will.
If you see the big fella,
come up, say hello.
Unless he's feeling as dusty as he's feeling right now, then leave him alone because he won't be talking to you. See you in Vegas, baby.